Hello and welcome to Connect. I'm your host, Randy Shabilo. On today's show, we'll have retiring Saskatoon Fire Chief Morgan Hackl, as well as Saskatoon author Ron Morris. And as always, we'd like to connect with you. Follow us on Facebook at ConnectYXE, catch past interviews on YouTube, email us at connectyxe@gmail.com, or leave a message at 306-665-3796. Retiring Fire Chief in the City of Saskatoon, Morgan Hackl, is with us today. We're going to have a little conversation about how it was when he started and what it's like today. Chief Hackl, thanks for coming down on your last few days.
Thank you so much for having me on this show.
I want to talk about your career and maybe how you started in fire service and how that's progressed to where you are today. What drove you to want to become a firefighter?
Well, it sure wasn't my intention. I finished high school here in the city and was attending U of S. I started out in commerce, as it was called then, Edwards School of Business today. I realized an accountant field was not for me. I finished a math degree, was working on a secondary degree for education. I was going to be an educator. My family has a strong tie to education, so does my wife's family. And met some people, had some friends who were in the fire service. They promoted the idea, talked about teamwork, helping community, the camaraderie, and that's what drew me in. And I applied in 1986 and was hired in 1987.
So you've obviously worked through the ranks. What would be a noticeable difference from when you started then to maybe halfway through your career and now that you've seen a significant change?
Yeah, I would say, like, in 1987 when I started, it was, in our response model, there was about 2,000 calls a year, mostly fire calls. And, some motor vehicle collisions, the odd heart attack call, and that was what encompassed our work. And quickly, 3 years later, Chief Hewitt arrived in Saskatoon. And he transformed SFD, and we became this all-hazard response. And all of a sudden, our call volume really started to jump, and doubled, tripled. And that's when, in 1990, we became involved in EMS, medical response, and we also took on other roles in terms of water rescue program. We took that over from the police, hazardous goods, low-angle, high-angle rescue, all these things. At the time, Chief Hewitt, he was very innovative and transformed us. So, and today, 25,000 calls a year.
Wow. If you were to segregate those, are those primarily on the EMT kind of response, or a little bit of everything?
Yeah, so there's a little bit of everything, but the largest part of our business is the fire suppression response and the medical response. The medical is the biggest part of our business today. 45% of our call volume for emergency, for all calls, is a response to a medical. In fact, over 70% of our calls, if we think about services that are provided by the province in terms of the health authority, over 70% of our calls today are related to health. So that's medical calls, lift assists of older adults, needle pickups. And so we're a comprehensive service, but a big part is medical. And today we have 140 paramedics on staff.
What does it look like when you are mapping? The city had 14,000 people move in last year. What does that look like with your deployment and trying to plan and envision, we're going to need a fire hall here, the growth of the city is east and west, and I would imagine more hazardous materials as well.
For sure. Our job is so comprehensive today. We have to have people trained, of course, in numerous specialties. But in terms of our response model, we have what's called the Strategic Facilities Plan. So we continue to evaluate year in and out our responses within the city. And it's not just for new neighborhoods that we're planning for new fire stations. We have to continue to evaluate where our current fire stations are and how those neighborhoods, that community is changing. Because with infill, there's other challenges. For example, as an area densifies, we would love to see our downtown more densified and everything connected to making it more inviting to everyone. With that creates challenges for the fire service. So we just have to make sure we're going to address those. So if we think about a medical call or a fire call in a single-story residential home versus a 30-story high-rise in the downtown on the 24th floor, we have to plan how we're going to respond to those types of calls. And so something we're continually evaluating.
You were recently recognized nationally with the Fire Chief Award for Canada with your file on partnering with different agencies and throughout the community. What do you think drew you to that, to try and leverage all of the network of support that you have in the community to achieve that?
Yeah, if I think back, I actually think it started in 2014. I took on the role as Assistant Chief of Communications, which was our dispatch center, but also community relations, public relations. So it was a really good fit for me for a job. I grew up in Saskatoon. I know quite a few people here, and it allowed me to embed SFD more in the community. And so we really focused on looking at the needs of the community. And for those, it was for the entire community, but really a focus on those that are most vulnerable in the community. So older adults, those who don't have access to services, young people in our community. They're our future. And how do we spend more time with them, invest in them, and build them up? So that's the areas we focused in. So that's when it started. And then when I became chief in 2015, we worked on continuing that plan, but trying to find more opportunities how SFD could provide more for the community. And I would say where it really shifted was 2018. A group of across the community came together to look at creating some focus groups. We needed to determine what were the major issues in the community, and it was a group called the Safe Community Action Alliance. And at that time, there was 2 focuses determined. Crystal meth was one, and today I would say the focus, and this is where the group has evolved to, it's about overall addictions. It's not just crystal meth. The second group was housing. And as soon as I heard that, I knew SFD needed to be embedded in that work. Everything that drives us, of course, is the protection of people, but safe and adequate housing is a huge priority within our acts and bylaws that fall under SFD. So that was a big piece for us, a big shift in 2018. And when I became more involved in focusing in that area, Assistant Chief Raymer did a lot of work, and now Pamela Golden-McLeod with EMO. We're really focused on this whole community approach and making sure that we're looking to provide everyone with supports, and of course the end goal is everybody is safe and has adequate housing.
I think you've done, it's a very difficult job to watch from the outside looking in, but the files of homelessness and temporary shelters, you and the department have used a different approach compared to many. You've seen some success with that as well.
Yeah, at SFD, we are firm believers in our approach. We would love to see the rest of Canada follow what we have done here. It's very, no matter what approach you take, it's difficult work. But what we determined after Camp Marjorie in Regina, Camp Hope, an encampment started in, I believe it was in the fall of 2021. a large encampment. And we just felt there was a better way, and we had some discussion internally. We talked about we have the ability through our acts and bylaws, and we have actually an ability to act. But the most important piece is when the Saskatoon Fire Department sees risk, especially when it's imminent risk, and for us, encampments, makeshift shelters, that's imminent risk. Temporary heating sources are a fire concern. And there's all kinds of social issues around encampments. So we determined that we were going to be proactive. And not proactive in a way to be forceful with people, but be proactive to build relationships, gain their trust, keep visiting people, those that are living rough, living outside, and encourage them to take supports and see if we could have an impact. I would say we have. Have we fixed what every community in Canada is facing? No. But we've avoided a lot of fire deaths. We've avoided a lot of injuries to people. We've avoided medical injuries such as major frostbite to people. There's all kinds of stories around that. One person this winter, I know, lost 8 toes. I'm not sure any of us can function day to day very easy without 8 toes. But I believe in what we're doing, and we continue to do this now with 2 full-time staff year round.
Your parting words to your successor that has yet to be chosen and announced, what would you leave with them as advice?
That's a very difficult question, Randy. Well, I think what we've learned, our team at Fire, is you sure can't do it alone. And relationships and connecting with community are the most important thing. And it's amazing when you do that, all of a sudden you create this strong trust, and everybody wants their hands in the middle. They all want to help. It's the best path forward.
Chief Hackl, remarkable career. Thank you for your years of service to the city and the area. I wish you the best for your retirement, and you and Jackie hope to see you on the road someday.
Okay. Thank you so much for today.
Stay with us, folks. We'll be right back.